That's what this is about. What should I buy during the pandemic that's still going to be worth the investment as a luxury brand, and how do I do it because I have to buy it online? This video will kind of help you make that final decision. Because here are the 5 brands that are ranked number 1 through 5 based on the sales and the value and the worth of each particular company. I will tell you, all of the luxury brands we love are really on the list, because there actually was a top 17, but I figured I want the video to be so long, so I'm only going to do the top 5 for you. So I'm sure whatever your favorite brand is, it is part of the 17. And then I'm going to share with you some of the top items that are most sought after right now on the market for 2020. So instead of starting with 5 to 1, I'm going to start off with number 1, and then I'm going to end it with a bonus recommendation and suggestion that's not part of the top 5. Okay, so number 1, if you can't guess, I would have gotten this one wrong. The number 1 luxury brand right now on the market that is worth $39.6 billion is Gucci. So they have risen to the top. They're still holding it as number 1. There was a slight decrease of 19% from 2019 to 2020 so far, based on the trends. But still, they're holding the lead far in advance from the other ones that I'm about to share with you. And some of the top selling items on the market right now for Gucci, number 1 is their fashion is still ranking really high. Their clothing, their attire. But the number 1 thing that's hot right now is, believe it or not, the sneaker market. Now, yes, Valentino, Balenciaga, Saint Laurent, there's another popular one right now. Fendi. Yes, Fendi. Oh my God, how could I forget Fendi? So right now they're on the heels of the Gucci sneakers, but still, believe it or not, Gucci still holds ranking number 1 as the luxury designer sneaker. I do not happen to have any of those sneakers. I'm not lucky enough to have them. But here's what I will tell you about Gucci. I do agree with this one, that when it comes to the fashion and the luxury, I have a couple I don't know what you call them, vintage pieces, I guess you would say, from Gucci that I've had for a really long time. This is a Gucci white sweatsuit. What goes around comes around, because I've shared before how this stripe they're using again, and I'll show you a clip of me trying this on for you before. But I've had this sweatsuit for over 20 years. I almost sold it at one point. It didn't sell at a consignment store, and thank God, I'm glad it didn't, because I have been enjoying wearing this sweatsuit again. So I am thankful for the opportunity that it did not sell. Everything happens for a reason. So, and another thing is, another vintage item that I've had for a really long time is a pair of the driving moccasins or loafers. I've had these for over 20 years. And I remember last summer I did something so freaking stupid. I was cooking and I was standing at the stove, and I'm like, you should take off these shoes. And as soon as I said that, literally something like oil dropped right on the very front top of my shoe. I was devastated. Call the Leather Spa in New York City. They're the ones I could not believe. They look almost brand new, how clean. Now, obviously it wasn't cheap. I'm not going to lie. Leather Spa is not a cheap shoe repair shop, but I only take things when I really want them to restored right, when I know it's a little tricky. And I've definitely had these shoes for over 20 years as well. So once again, this is just another classic style and fashion from Gucci that will be timeless. No matter how long you have them, you'll still enjoy them. And so I agree, when it comes to the fashion for Gucci, they have been knocking it out of the park for a very long time. So Gucci, congratulations for being number 1 fashion luxury brand designer at $39 billion. That's amazing. Okay, so I am now going to transition to number 2. What do you think number 2 is? I was also surprised. I mean, I know all of the ones that we love are in the top 17, so they really could fluctuate, but I'm giving you how they're ranking based on the worth and value, on how we support these brands. So number 2, drum roll, is Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton is worth $9.7 billion. And so when it comes to Louis Vuitton, there's many things that we think of. The top selling items for them that are hot right now for 2020, as you can see, is an array of beautiful tote bags. Number 1 is the Neverfull. I will say the Neverfull bag is beautiful. I used to have it. I actually did sell it at one point because there was another tote bag that I was looking to get at the time. I don't remember which one it was. And I ended up selling it to a local consignment shop that I love. And I will say, when I did decide to sell this to a consignment shop, that I agree with this list, that it was a great investment, because literally the consignment store had a waiting list. Another great thing about Louis Vuitton that you see on the list is a large wallet. So this is a large wallet that I've had now for a little bit from Louis Vuitton, and I'm showing it to you, but I also know that I recently found out from another follower that it is discontinued, and it is called the Jeanne wallet. I'll put the name for you below, but it is discontinued. I will say I do love it, and if you do find it pre-owned, definitely grab it. Here's the reason why I do love this wallet. Although it's large, it's not too bulky, it's not too heavy like a zip around, and it has lots of different organizing compartments. Congratulations if you have any of these bags, and if you're thinking about any of these bags, go for it. Okay, so number 3. You're probably going to guess what number 3 is. Number 3 is, can you guess? I'm looking for something to show you. It's Chanel. Okay, so Chanel is still owned privately, so that's why the industry is thinking that they're not selling or worth more. It's because it's still ran as a private family business. Family extension from, I was a partner of Coco Chanel. So 9.1 billion for Chanel. And as you can see, some of the most popular items today for 2020, if you're looking to buy any of these from Chanel, these are definitely hot on the market, definitely worth the investment. And whether you're buying them new or pre-owned, you should make out really good. And as you can see, one of the items they have is some type of clutch. I've had this clutch now for about 4 years. It's just one big open sack, as I call it. They really call it a toiletry. Yeah, a toiletry bag clutch. And I just keep a little magazine inside so it just remains stiff, because if not, you can just really fold it up. It doesn't have a shape. And so anyway, so you can't go wrong for the summer having a clutch like this. It came in a lot of beautiful colors. It comes in a quilted, thicker version if you're looking for something more sturdier, and some other beautiful colors. So that is definitely a great item to have for the summer. And then, of course, you can't go wrong with the classic. You guys have seen my classic double flat before. As you can see, it's on the list. The only reason why I brought it out again, because it is on the list. But if you're interested, can't go wrong. It's still a great investment to make for 2020. And then I'm going to add one more thing, being that we are talking about the summer. And I got this, and I'm sharing it with you because I got this pre-owned last year. Gabrielle crossbody. And it came like in 3 different versions. I think it comes in all black. This is the black and white, and it comes in a pretty gold. Number 4 actually is more on the jewelry side. And when I say the jewelry side, the number 4 item for luxury they say is a great investment to make right now is a watch. Can you guess what brand they're suggesting? There are many beautiful ones, of course. I'm only telling you what they shared as the watch brand to buy for an investment. That is Rolex. Rolex has always been a great brand to buy new or pre-owned. I do happen to have one myself, and I have the the Rolex Datejust in the 42, and so which is a larger for the men's size, which I love. And I actually got this pre-owned. I didn't even hesitate when I wanted one, and I knew I wanted to buy it pre-owned. It just made me feel a little bit better making the investment and getting such a classic piece that you can never tell what year these bracelets are. If someone that you're getting it from have taken really good care of it, you take really good care of it, you will have these watches forever. Hey, one thing. Quick intermission. Have you guys subscribed down below as of yet? Right there. Don't forget to do it right now for me. I am now also going to transitioning to number 5. Now, number 5, believe it or not, is Dior. And Dior ranks number 5 once again based on the value and based on the sales. Now, here's a couple of the popular things from Dior. The t-shirts are a really hot item for them, as well as the Dior kitten heels, which I don't have either, but I wanted to show you what the top items are that are really popular that you can't go wrong with as an investment if you're thinking about those things. I do want one of those t-shirts though. Every time I think about the price, I'm like, oh, maybe I will. I don't know, but I don't know when, but I do love the t-shirts a lot. Now here's how I would wrap up the summer things, luxury investments to also include from that brand if you haven't thought about it. And that is, you can't go wrong with some sunglasses. These are from Dior, which I absolutely love. You guys know this. You have seen this picture before. I just love the color. I just love how neutral. I just love how oversized. And I recently looked them up for another subscriber because they wanted to know what the style was, and I didn't recall the name. And after I did this research, I also realized that they've made that lens 3 years in a row in 3 different shapes, and I didn't know it. So 2 years ago, they actually made it in a aviator shape. When I saw that, I thought, okay, so what is 2 years ago? I absolutely love it. I already know I love the lens. So what I'm going to do is get it in the aviator shape and a light gray color. I said to you that, in my opinion, I wanted to add one more thing to it that I think is a really great luxury item to add. Now, this luxury brand fell to like 12th on the list, but that's okay. And that is actually Hermes. So the 2 things that I recommend that I think are really great items to purchase for the summer, and that is, first thing is the Hermes Oran. I absolutely love these shoes, and I will tell you this, I actually have 4 pair of Hermes sandals, and every single one of them were pre-owned. I didn't buy them brand new. And I will also tell you that if you're looking to buy the Oran, I know the sizing can fluctuate a little bit. I did get mine true to size and they just fit. So if you do like a little bit more space in your sandals, I would probably go up just a half a size. And if you're buying it from a site or someplace that you're able to return it, that's even better. But I did buy my pre-owned on eBay. Absolutely love them. Online luxury purchase to make. That's easy to do, and that is buying a Hermes scarf. I actually have one in my hair, so I thought this is like a perfect, cute thing to buy that's attainable. You can see the beautiful colors if you're buying it online, whether it's new or pre-owned. I will tell you, so I have 2 more here. Here's one that I had in my last video. I'll share you a clip there. And then here is actually one that I actually got pre-owned from a consignment store. And I just did the measurement for you. I'm going to do the measurement for you. I have my little handy dandy tape here just to show you. So if you are buying it online, pre-owned or new, that way you'll know what size to buy if you want to put it around your hair. And that is, okay, so that's about a 17. So if you're looking to wrap it around your hair, I had this one as more like the fold over napkin, as you saw. And then I have this one just basically same thing, but I just have it, I just have it wrapped like in a little. If whatever you're buying is 17 inches or bigger, you'll be able to wrap it and style it around your hair the way you would want. And if you find a color that I think it's beautiful thing to have for the summer, just to kind of change it up, especially, you know, we're trying to do different things with our hair due to pandemic. Lots of us are doing our own hair, hence me. I am trying my best. I will say though that I am definitely have been more creative than I ever have been in the last 2 months with my hair. You've been inspiring me. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't done so, once again, click below, subscribe right here, and give me the thumbs up, because that definitely helps me. That supports my channel, and that definitely lets me know that you like it. And then it'll come up more often for you. I actually plan to still continue to post at least 3 videos at minimum a week for you guys. I got some really great things lined up. I'm so excited, and I'm really happy, and I'm just thankful for all of your love and support for my channel and where we're going together. So anyway, let me know what was your favorite today. Also, and let me know too what items that's on your list that you're really thinking about and you're not sure. And if I can answer any questions from anything that I've shared with you that I have, I would love to be able to do that. And that was the other reason for me doing this channel, because if I can save you any time, heartache, I love to do that. So anyway, thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful, fantastic 2 days, and I'll be seeing you really soon. Bye-bye.